What's up, amazing people? Today we're going to review the showdown of Bumboy versus Mighty Man. Some might call it the inflammation showdown. At the end, you'll learn why this is so important and how you can apply it to your life. This is a good story that I want to share with you all now. Let's see what we got. Here we go. All right, it's going to take us throughout the day. So Bumboy versus Mighty Man, the inflammation showdown. It's Monday morning at 7:03 a.m. Not 7 a.m., 7:03 a.m. Bumboy's hunched over his desk, scrolling his inbox with one hand and devouring a bowl of cereal with the other. Frosted Flakes, skim milk, and a can of Monster, his usual breakfast of champions. He yawns again. I don't know what's wrong with me, mate. Great. Think it's just work stress. I'll slam another caffeine hit after this. I don't know what accent I'm doing, but I'm going to roll with it. Across the co-working space, Mighty Man walks in. Dang, they're at work early. Postured tall, eyes sharp, like a lion who knows he's got the jungle handled. The jungle? He sets down his bag and unwraps a small glass container. Inside, I was thinking of a mason jar. Glass container. Inside, 4 eggs, half an avocado, blueberries, and a pinch of sea salt. Bumboy stares. Bro, you meal prep breakfast? That's a bit extreme, isn't it? I guess these guys have an accent. Mighty Man smiles. I like to build my meals the way I build my body. Strong, clean, and fireproof. This is hilarious to me. Bumboy scoffs but winces slightly. His gut bloated, joints aching from a weekend of beers, takeout, and zero movement. Now, new scene. Lunch rolls around. Bumboy is wolfing down a foot-long sandwich with chips and a protein bar. Mid-bite, he leans back and groans. Oh, I feel like I need a nap after this. Might be low blood sugar or something. Or maybe I'm just getting old. Mighty Man quietly chews through his steak, sweet potato, and arugula salad with olive oil. Maybe it's your food. Inflammation's a silent killer, he says. Bumboy frowns. Inflammation? What am I, 70? Mighty Man chuckles. Nah, just a man who doesn't want to feel 70 when he's 30. Here we go, back onto a new scene, maybe a similar location. I guess we'll find out. Bumboy is on his 3rd coffee. His eyes are glazed. He's snacking on candy from the office drawer, hoping it'll spark some energy. Meanwhile, Mighty Man steps outside for a quick walk in the sun. He's alert, calm, planning his evening training session. By 7 p.m., Bumboy is back on the couch, watching Netflix with Uber Eats on the way, some pasta, a soda, and a pint of ice cream, of course. His joints are stiff, his mood is flat, and his confidence shrinking with every day he doesn't have the energy. But Mighty Man, he's just wrapped a deadlift session, grilled up wild salmon and roasted carrots, and is finishing the night with some breath work and blue light free downtime. His body's tight, his mind is clear, and his testosterone climbing higher than his pull-up bar. Moral of the story here. Bumboy eats for convenience, but every meal makes him slower, softer, and more stressed. He thinks he's just tired or too busy, but really, he's inflamed. Mighty Man eats for performance. His food fuels his fire, stabilizing blood sugar, lowering cortisol, your stress hormone, keeping inflammation low and testosterone high. Both men eat the same calories. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. Both men eat the same calories, but only one is turning those calories into real strength, energy, and confidence. Which one do you want to be? Bum boy or mighty man? Eat like your testosterone depends on it, because it does. A little bit corny here, ChatGPT, but I love it. What can we talk about here? Man, I asked ChatGPT about doing something where an anti-inflammatory diet. Basically, what would that look like? And then compare that to either your average or an opposite kind of diet, right? So getting that under control. I did just look into this with a curiosity mindset and noticed that a lot of it really just coincided with a high testosterone diet, which is cool to see. So knowing that those two go hand in hand, this is probably a good idea to follow something like that. I forget what the exact specifics were all the way back. What is an anti-inflammatory diet? So it's a way of eating that focuses on reducing chronic inflammation in the body. I think that inflammation is one of the silent killers, meaning like truly a lot of these diseases are just inflammation in the body. So I can look that up too. All right, so eating that focuses on reducing chronic inflammation in the body, which is linked to issues like fatigue, joint pain, brain fog, insulin resistance, which to me brings up the idea of diabetes and even low testosterone. Okay, cool. So what you eat. First, animal-based proteins, wild salmon, sardines, grass-fed beef, pastured or pasture-raised eggs, healthy fats. We all know what those are at this point, I would hope. Antioxidant-rich foods like berries, pomegranate, beets, etc. Root veggies, sweet potatoes, carrots, squash, love it. Bananas, apples, and fruit. Herbs and spices, turmeric, ginger, garlic, rosemary, natural anti-inflammatories, that's good to see, are good to know. Fermented foods, those are going to help your gut. Oh, there it is already. Sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, help the gut, which regulates inflammation. What you avoid, the inflammation causers. I'm telling you right now, if you are eating these things, it's going to make every sickness you have worse, or it's going to give you a lot more issues when it comes to health that you could really just be avoiding, not only with your health, but with your mentality, with your confidence, with your energy, with your strength, etc. Number one, ultra-processed food, seed oils. If you've never looked at a video of how a seed oil is created, it's like a horror movie. You do not want to see it, but you have to watch it, because then you will know and you will see why people should be avoiding seed oils. Second, refined grains. And third, fast food. Depending what it is, of course. But a lot of times, these are fried foods that are cooked in seed oils and a whole bunch of other crap. Added sugars, especially high fructose corn syrup, excess alcohol, artificial additives, and sweeteners. Sure, it's stuff you guys probably already knew, but I don't think you understand how impactful it is until you actually go off of it for like a week or two. And then I think I saw a video, it's like, eat so clean that you get a hangover from eating food that isn't clean. So what to avoid, we went over that. Oh yeah, so low quality dairy and meat, factory farmed, heavily processed. Obviously you can have meat that isn't necessarily as bad as the others. If you're trying to hit macros and stuff, that's understandable, like getting ground beef, even if it's not farm or grass-fed, grass-finished, whatever, or grain, yeah, whatever it is. It's fine on a macronutrient perspective, but the benefits are going to be weighted towards the higher quality options. So stuff to consider: lower quality dairy, lower quality meat is where a lot of the issues come from. If you're getting high quality dairy and high quality meat, a lot of those issues can be prevented, or a lot of them just there's just way more benefits, right? So heavily processed meat also is like things like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like hot dogs or salami, where it's like, yeah, of course, there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there that isn't necessarily the main ingredient, right? Those single ingredient meats should be fine. Why it matters, especially for blokes. Inflammation increases cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone. If you're eating stress, then don't wonder why you're stressed all the time. Because you're eating foods that make you stressed, which crushes testosterone. So if you're like, oh, I'm just not motivated, man, but you're eating Pop-Tarts and chips and acting like a child, like a bum boy, then come on. It also slows your recovery. So if you're feeling down, you're not recovering fast enough, you're like, oh, I'm always sore, whatever it is, that's not helpful, and makes it harder to build muscle or burn fat. So truly, in the example from the story, those guys were eating the same number of calories, but they're going to be storing them a whole lot differently. Even with higher testosterone, you're going to get more of a V-taper naturally, because you're not going to be storing fat around your hips and your chest, fat on your chest. You're going to be storing, what is it called? Oh, what's the word? Basically, the way that your body stores fat is different when you have higher testosterone and stuff like that. So if you're stressed, you're going to look like skinny fat, or you're going to look like a box. Whereas if you have higher testosterone, that's a good sign that you're going to have a bit more aesthetic physique. An anti-inflammatory diet, so the one we're talking about here, supports clearer skin and thinking. So if you're struggling with unclear skin or not thinking clearly, it could be inflammation. It supports more energy and less joint pain. I mean, people spend thousands of dollars a year just on that. Faster recovery and better hormone balance. I mean, you can't ask for much more. Hormones are so important. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Lower body fat and improved digestion. Now, notice they were eating the same amount of calories, and even though that is the case, there's just an extremely higher likelihood that somebody's going to be just having a higher muscle mass. Even if they're the same weight, the distribution of that weight is going to be different in people that are eating different things, even if they're the same weight. So you can take a guy that looks like he's a bodybuilder at 200 pounds, and you can compare him to somebody that looks like a tub of lard at 200 pounds. You're going to have a different orientation of their physique. And improved digestion. So that's another key one. I mean, digestion really is key, or is another thing that's so underrated. So eating in this way is going to help you out in so many ways. I honestly, I feel like this list could go on, but with that in mind, let's see. All right, here we go. So I did ask it a question, right? I was like, is inflammation in the body a silent killer? How does diet impact that? Yes, chronic inflammation is often called a silent killer because it lingers beneath the surface without obvious symptoms until it wrecks your energy, hormones, and long-term health. I would argue if you're getting, I think you would have some symptoms. It's not always easy to relate back to the food, though. So you're going to have symptoms. You just might not know that they're coming from the inflammation. So here's the breakdown. See, inflammation isn't always loud like a fever or injury. Chronic low-grade inflammation quietly fuels heart disease, insulin resistance and diabetes, obesity, brain fog, depression, anxiety, low testosterone, infertility, autoimmune conditions, cancer risk. Your body's essentially stuck in a constant alert state, draining recovery, reducing performance, and slowly deteriorating cellular function. To me, if you want people to continue in a consumer environment, then you're going to want them tired, weak, and lazy, which is exactly what this does. I'm not saying anything much more than that. Just know that if somebody wants you to continue buying from them, they want you to have these problems. So how do you gain independence and sovereignty is by being healthy and eating an anti-inflammatory diet. How diet affects inflammation, for better or worse. Foods that cause inflammation: seed oils, refined carbs, added sugars, we went over this, and excessive caffeine, understandably so. Find out, I think there's a certain mark where you're comfortable. Try not to exceed that, but I do think caffeine is helpful. Foods that fight inflammation: grass-fed meat, wild salmon, sardines, I would say wild sardines, eggs, pastured, avocados, olive oil, berries, dark leafy greens. I think we went over this. Bone broth, fermented veg, raw cheese, herbs and spices. Also, I will note, a lot of times people think that just because they're eating one of these, they're getting all the benefits. But if you're eating, let's see, if you're eating eggs, or if you're eating anything and they're just covered in sugar, organic sugar or not, that's different from if you're eating the fruit on its own. Those are going to be digested way differently, especially because of the fiber. Now, don't get it twisted. These are all good, but like I said, if you are just throwing some ginger on top of an unhealthy meal, that doesn't mean you're eating healthy. So don't get that twisted. Bottom line for businessmen, if you don't need to wait for a diagnosis, you don't need to wait for a diagnosis to take inflammation seriously. If you feel tired despite enough sleep, bloated or puffy regularly, sore longer than you should, stuck in a low energy, low confidence loop, you are likely inflamed. And your diet is either pouring fuel on that fire or helping to put it out. Awesome. So with that in mind, I do have a free PDF I can put in the link in the caption that is going to help you with this kind of stuff. Just download the free guide on the link. It's totally free. I don't need anything. It could be a paid product, but just go ahead and grab it. Check it out. It's going to cover training, nutrition, and recovery. Key in on the nutrition aspect of this one, but they all contribute in a synergistic or holistic sense. So, last thing, just something you guys can take away from this. The Optimal anti-inflammatory, I wouldn't quite put my name on it yet, or the business name on it yet, but this is an anti-inflammatory shopping list. Built for fat loss, high testosterone, and maximum performance. Grass-fed beef, eggs, sardines, salmon, or organic chicken thighs, bison or venison, if available, liver, beef or chicken, nature's multivitamin, love it. Healthy, and that it's a trusted brand. A lot of olive oil out there is fake. Avocados, organic. Grass-fed butter or ghee, that's the way to go. Coconut oil, raw macadamia nuts, raw Brazil nuts. Tallow or duck fat for high heat cooking, love it. Fiber-rich foods, blueberries, pomegranates, apples, bananas, carrots, beets, sweet potatoes, butternut squash. Anti-inflammatory herbs and extras. Fresh garlic, ginger root, turmeric, rosemary, basil, oregano, cinnamon, sea salt, apple cider vinegar. Gut and brain support, I think we went over these. Greek yogurt, bone broth, dark chocolate. I know that they always talk about dark chocolate. Like, to me, this is one of them, right? Even if it is the 85+%. Typically, it's dark chocolate and what? Sugar. So to me, you should just get the raw cacao and put that into, say, a yogurt bowl with Greek yogurt and some honey. As opposed to eating dark chocolate plus sugar, you should just have raw cacao. Because that's all the benefits without the downsides. What to leave on shelf. All of that bullshit. Okay. Wonderful. Now, with that in mind, obviously you can see the difference between the story. I think we provided some context, looked into a little bit more. I don't want to overwhelm you with this video. Drop a comment, shoot me a message on Instagram at GrowWithCrego. If you have any questions, want to see more on this, want to debate me on this, want to support me on this, let me know. Open to anything and everything with this. So shoot me a message there, drop a comment on the YouTube. Also, make sure you like and subscribe for more. I'll be back soon with another video later this week.